Welcome to Hustle Estate from good old New Jersey and Detroit, Michigan. I'm one of your hosts, Isaac Gilman.
And I'm your other host, Ed Hendrickson.
How are things going with the virus and everything? I think both of our states are pretty much starting to lock stuff down. I know Hoboken's kind of been doing some things, I think more aggressively than Jersey, but Michigan, like we're work from home mandatory. We were work from home pretty much mandatory starting last Wednesday.
Really? I mean, Wednesday is an early enactor of this, I guess, right? Like that wasn't happening here even on Wednesday.
That was just our company. That wasn't Michigan.
Okay.
So like Michigan shut down, well, quote unquote, shut down bars, restaurants, all those places Monday afternoon.
Okay.
But last Wednesday, more so like Quicken had been testing out like work from home, basically like the load on the system if like large groups of people were to work from home about 2-3 weeks ago maybe. So like Quicken's been testing work from home stuff for a bit now, just to like see what the load on the system is like. And then our company was basically like all IT should start working from home Wednesday last week. But my daughter's daycare is still up and running, and the daycare is in basically downtown.
Okay.
On Friday I took her, and even on Monday I took her to daycare, and I like worked in the office. I mean, nobody like. I think somebody told me there's like basically 200 team members in our office out of like 2,000.
Okay.
Because they're on the ground critical roles. So basically the majority of those team members are opening up closing packages that come in from like refinances or purchases that have closed. And so they're like physically opening up mail and then getting that, like making sure those documents are signed and initialed properly, and then like sending them off to recording. So those are like considered mission critical because it's like the back end of the process basically. I mean, another example would obviously be like security or janitorial staff, stuff like that. But
so how did you get in? I mean, they were okay with letting you in. There wasn't like
no. I mean, I talked to my leader, like basically I had to get approved. I don't know, it's weird because I don't know why my daughter's daycare, like, and while that daycare has stayed open, like somebody else I work with who goes to a different daycare, different company, like their daycare has stayed open too. I'm not really sure why daycares have stayed open, even though closed schools have closed. Like Michigan schools closed starting Monday. Friday was the last day. Some municipalities closed their schools earlier, but the state said all schools had to close starting Monday. Because, like, I don't know, not concern, but like the challenge. And this is like, the more I've thought about, the more I've read about things, it's like, it's okay that I have to take care of her at least twice a week. Is just like, I can't focus that much. Like, I have an 11-month-old, and she requires a lot of attention and effort.
right.
During the day, So I wanted to take her so I could like do my work. But, looking back at it, I probably should have just never gone to the office.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to look back and feel certain ways about certain things, but
Yeah.
it is an interesting thought because Hoboken did have, I forget when they closed schools on Hoboken. Maybe Friday schools were closed and daycare stayed open, but then
Right.
Monday daycare closed as well. So yesterday, so daycare has been closed. It is interesting that the thought of let's close the schools but not close daycare. And I kind of think to this point of, well, is that because parents need to work, so like they need daycares? But then like if that's the mentality or that is the thought, then schools should be open, right? I mean, you're still
Yeah. Yeah.
kids are still like it's the same. Daycare to me is school, right? All the stuff, all the rules and guidelines should really follow. Yes, I guess there's a different governing body and or there is no real governing body of daycares. I guess maybe the
Yeah. It's
city
like a
like
private school.
state. Exactly, it's a private school. Yeah, that would be the governing body.
Yep.
Or governing body thought process. Yes.
Yep.
So it's just weird. Like, I mean, look, Hoboken kind of nipped in the butt right away, but I find it ironic. Like my sister-in-law and her husband and my nephews they live out in Western New Jersey. So it's kind of like through this New Jersey New Jersey's been pretty aggressive as well. He's working from home. Everybody in his office
Yep.
is working from home. Same thing
Yep.
with his wife. Now, I don't know what it's specifically like in Western New Jersey. Are they closing more? Are they, is it like out here, I guess, in essence? But
Right.
like the thing that Hoboken is seeing in North Jersey, I feel like is feeling is very much similar to New York. So New York says work from home. Large companies in New York say work from home. Most of the northern New Jersey people are working from home. That's kind of by default
Yeah.
that's happening. Not so much Western Jersey, but my point was their daycares are open. So their schools are closed, but their daycares are open. And they're telling me that like they send emails out like we have no intention to close, basically. They are not going to close unless if some governing body says you need to close. So,
Yeah. That's basically what ours has said.
and it's like weird. I get that you're it's less interaction at some point, but okay, so you and me are working from home. I potentially have the virus. We send both of our kids to school, and my
Yeah.
kid brings it to school, and then 15 other kids are going to bring
Yeah.
it home to their
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we might as well just like I kind of believe in this like as dumb as this sounds, man, I do believe in the lockdown first and foremost before I say this, but like just let everybody go about their business then. Like let's just all get this disease, let everybody die who's going to die, and we'll work it through. Like if you're not doing anything about it, that's kind of the mentality,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
It's,
right.
it's
Right.
like
Like,
it's crazy so to say that you're not going to close your school, like you're okay with saying we're gonna force this through the system, and people are going to die, and you're okay with people dying. That's all right. Maybe you don't think it's a big deal, whatever the case is. Maybe 100,000 people are dying isn't that big of a deal because millions die every year. Whatever your thought process is, it's crazy. Like that to me, it really blows my mind. And, um, to be honest, kind of pisses me off. Like it does. So, Ann and I are actually going to have a conversation tonight after this, just kind of figure out what's going on with her because her office is open.
I know
And
Kayla is the same. They're not saying, I mean, it's hardish, I guess, for her to work from home, but they're like,
like
come in.
that's the thing. Like so that's the thing though, and that's what I get. So like so my wife's company, she's a speech pathologist, and they're basically like allowing you to do teletherapy. Otherwise, some people teletherapy doesn't work for, so you
Right.
need to see them in person. And their company hasn't come out and said anything. We can only just all make assumptions as to what we think, but basically they don't want to run it. They don't want to close because they don't want to not make money. Let's be fair, right? Because what this might hurt to hear this being said, but speech therapy is not urgent right now.
Right. Yeah, I
So
mean,
to postpone your speech therapy sessions for 90 days even, yes, it might cause maybe there is some irrevocable damage being done, right? In some sense. But how many
probably.
people could have died outside of that, right? Is
Right,
it
right, right.
is it one? I don't know. Is it worth it one for you to be able to speak fine? But like, I might have lost my uncle. I don't know. That's important to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather have my uncle back than you be able to talk. And you're saying I'd rather talk than you have your uncle who's 65 anyway, whatever. Like I'm only fucking 20. I don't know. So it's tough. Like I just feel like it's socially polar. Like people are at such opposite ends of
Yes,
this.
yes.
And
Yep.
unfortunately, there's a lot of money involved in this.
I mean,
So
like going off of that, not no so much like a lot of money, but like I think you and I are in situations where working from home is actually we both work in industries that potentially right now this is like booming.
yeah.
I know like Quicken and Amrock right now are having like the best weeks of their lives.
Mhm.
Like the volume is so much at this moment that they're asking me and other IT team members to flex into operational roles to help do things.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
well,
like, do you
they're
see
not, the
like is there a
refinance
lot?
isn't that. I mean, I mean, there's kind of two comments to that. Number one, I think that a lot of people refinance due to rates coming down, but that's slowing down because it kind of had a reverse there. Rates have kind of come back up at this point, it seems. I don't know if you're
I
seeing
don't
that
know.
from your
I
side,
no
but
rates are down with the Fed. So rates went back up slowly, but like then once the Fed dropped to zero, or 0.25, whatever the percentage is, rates went back down. Like, I don't think rates can go any lower than right now, like yesterday and today.
That is correct from a treasury perspective, but that's not necessarily what the
Yeah,
market.
sure. They want to remain competitive, but like theoretically speaking, you're not really going to get a better rate right now.
Right. I mean, I'm just pulling up just to while we're on here.
Like go to bank rate or
That's
something.
it. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Bank rate, looking at mortgage rate, today's mortgage rate and refinance rates. So you're looking at like just
Like
to
a 30-year normal
right,
conforming.
like you're rolling down the list here, 3625. Okay, so let's just go to this 30 year. This says 30-year fixed, 35, 3625, 375, 444, 425, 4375, 4625. So really, I bet, I mean, if we were to look up what I mean, these aren't that low. Yeah, I mean, they're out. I mean, look, there's so much more systemic to this going on. Even when they were low, I mean, I heard out here people were, it was tough to get mortgages. Appraisals done.
Yeah, well, that's the problem we're having. Is like
So
we're having shortages in like actual manpower to do certain things, appraisals being one of them.
yeah,
Like
and
there's
again,
literally
you're
not
having the
enough
same thing.
appraisers to do all the work. Yeah.
So it's, yeah, rates are still low. I mean, I think that they've come back from where they were super low. Like, I mean, they were definitely lower a week and a half ago. From not from a Fed funds perspective, from a market perspective. Um, I guess that's to me almost more important because that's what the market is doing, right? I mean, even when '08 happened, I mean, rates went down to like zero, but sometimes it didn't even impact
Yeah, I
what
see what you're
banks were
saying.
actually
Well,
lending at.
yeah, I mean, you could argue that because everyone's so swamped, they have an
Or
opportunity to like all go a little
ab-
bit above. Yeah.
absolutely. So that's kind
Yeah,
of what I
you're
think
right.
has
You're right.
happened
You're
due
right.
to more of
Yeah.
a supply and demand here.
Yeah. But
Um,
I mean, we're still seeing like ridiculous volume
right.
that was unexpected.
Yes, of
That's,
course. But in
we
my
saw.
world, it's not like it really isn't impacting hard
Okay.
money. We're
So it is.
traditionally, I would say we are not impacted by rates. Yes, there probably is some sort of um, what the market has in what Fed funds are probably impacted somewhat, but not so much the way it does with banks traditionally, because we are very private. I mean, our funds aren't coming from the Fed. Our funds are coming from hedge funds and securitizations and all these
So like more
sort of different
private.
investors, more
Yeah.
private, right? We're definitely
Yeah.
on the private side. So if rates came down for us the past 3 months, but not really because of rates being coming down from the Fed. It was more of a competition standpoint for us. A lot of people got into this 30-year rental space, and that forced rates down. Forced it's just competition. People started lowering their rates. What I saw, I was speaking to somebody today with what's happening here. Rates are going up. With what's going on in this market, we are going to raise our rates on the what we call like the DSCR product, which is debt service coverage ratio. This is the rental product that we have. So I've heard lenders saying like even as of tomorrow, rates are going to go up a half to a full point in our space because the buyers of this stuff are a little bit more scared at this point, which is Wall Street buying this, not so
Right.
much being backed by the government or security deposits and all this kind of stuff. So those rates will go up. It's funny, I've had a few people call me and they're like, man, rates are down. Like, how are you guys doing? And today I said to have a conversation with guys like, you better close this one quick if you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're looking at rates spiking like a 0.5%.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
this isn't me just trying to sell you on like, hey, dude, close this, right? Like, it's a reality that's going to happen. And then in the hard money space, I mean, rates really haven't changed, but what's happening is lenders are starting to encourage what we call an interest reserve. So basically, you would come to close with more money. It's not toward a down payment, but they might want you to bring 6 months of prepaid interest payments,
Oh, interesting.
depending on how you qualify as a borrower, because they're not concerned about the long-term effect of this. They're concerned about the short-term liquidity crunch. So if people lose their jobs and people don't pay rent, over the next 3 months. I mean, that'll be a 6 month to a year. If I mean, who obviously it could have longer implications, but they're just saying they want to know that they're secured for 6 months. Hopefully, they get the flip done within 6 months to
Yeah.
a year, or whatever the
I
case is.
mean, that's a scary part too, is actually like I've heard, I don't know data around it, but how many people are not buying homes right now because like just they're scared to go to a home that maybe like a bunch of other people have visited and touched, right? Similar, like how many realtors want to go out and show people a bunch of homes.
Yep.
Um, just because refi is doing really well doesn't mean purchase is doing well right now. So
I think we can see a lot of people go to, if I was a realtor, I would be like, no open house. I would go to the house and I would do a virtual open house. I mean, I think kind
yeah,
of like work from home, virtual, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
open
No, you're
house, right?
right.
Type of
Yeah.
thing. Or like I think we can see stuff like that. But I literally got off the phone with an investor and he told me that he lived through the crash. And he said to me, I'm not buying anything unless if it's 50 cents on the dollar, which we realize is probably unrealistic to see. And he just
Maybe
doesn't
not in a
care.
few
He's like,
months.
right. He's like, I'm not, and he's not only buying, it's not like he's saying 50 cents on a dollar because I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to get a deal. This is going to crash. He's saying no. Like if I buy something today and I think it's a good deal, I don't know where the market's going to be in 6 months.
Right, right,
I
right.
lived through that crash. So I needed 50 cents on the dollar so I can make money, God forbid. And then the other thing he said I thought was very interesting, which I hadn't even thought about. He's like, I'm only buying projects. Also, that 50 cents on the dollar project has to be like some spackle and paint kind of thing that I can get rented, worst case.
Yeah, and even to that degree, depending on who you're renting it to, if they lose a job, I've been hearing a lot about people basically being like, you know what? I know you and I have talked about this to some degree, is like if your rental, if your tenant, who's a good tenant, right? Let's just start with that. They're good tenants. They've normally paid on time or whatever. They seem like good people, but they run into an issue where like maybe they're a waiter, waitress, hostess, whatever at a restaurant that's now closed. That's out of their control. Like, can you help them so they can maybe either pay a little bit from their savings or whatever? But then, right, you don't lose a good tenant, but you lose a little bit of revenue, or you actually start to lose some money on the property. But at least you're, keeping it somewhat occupied because there's just either no demand to rent it, or you don't want to go through the eviction process ultimately if you don't have to.
Well, there's actually very interesting a couple comments to that, and I've thought a little bit about the implications here as I have rentals. Number one, in Essex County, New Jersey, they've closed the eviction courts, so you can't even evict a tenant right now.
Oh well.
So they put that on hold as of Monday. The other question is if what I mean, how's the government going to help me as a landlord, right? I know I'm kind of like a big bad person in society, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but if my mortgage payment's $1,000, I charge you $600, let's just say, because I'm making all the stuff up because I want to paint a picture of how I make money to live. I have 10 properties, so that means I'm making $4,000 a month off of this scenario. But let's keep in mind, I have $6,000 a month in mortgage payments that I have
Yeah.
to make. So if I start getting a high percentage of tenants that don't pay, and I have to look at it from an overall standpoint, because I'm gonna have to take money from one house to pay the other, right? But if I start getting a high percentage of people who don't pay, that eats into my savings very, very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
So now what happens to me? Can I not make my mortgage payment?
Right. And
And
I mean, that's what's so crazy about this situation is it's not an economic problem, but it will
it will be
create
an yeah,
economic, right? It's a healthcare problem. I was telling somebody it's like a science problem, and like the Fed dropping its rate doesn't solve the science problem. So it's really, you need to figure out, like, from a bottom up approach, how do you help your tenants essentially so that they can meet their at least basic needs, even if those basic needs are half the rent,
right.
right? Because that ultimately will help you at least in the short term. And then once they can get back on their feet and restaurants open back up and whatever, then theoretically they start. But like, there's like a lot of discussion about a payroll tax. Now, payroll tax benefits me because I currently have a job. But if you don't have a job, or for you, I don't know how that works because you're self-employed, you're not taking taxes out of your paycheck. Like
Right.
that doesn't. that doesn't help the people that don't have jobs.
So yeah, that's why, I mean, I think that we don't, I mean, this is just great open-ended conversation because there's no answer, right?
I
Because
know.
okay,
That is
go
what's crazy, right?
you go
Yeah.
with the payroll, that helps one section, but then what about, again, so here's the question. If you're going to give a payroll tax and that benefit that you have, are you going to pay your rent with that extra or are you not? Right? So if I come out and say, "Hey, listen, all right, Isaac, you're my tenant. Let's work this out, dude. I'm only going to charge you $600 this month. I'll eat my 400. I just need to make sure this thing doesn't blow up on me." What's to say that you're going to even pay the 600 if you know that I can't evict you?
Yeah, and alternatively, right? Like let's say, because I think Italy might be another country that's suspending mortgage payments.
Hmm.
You you have to do that in a way that's like, right, there's obviously a snowball effect to that. So I stop my mortgage payment. Okay, great, cool. I don't have to pay my mortgage. But does that mean that the mortgage servicer or the loan originator, like, what happens with them? Like, how are they
Do they go
going
to
to
business? I didn't even
survive?
think about that
Right, right.
because they
So
get paid
like,
off this. And then do
right,
you owe back your mortgage as well? And will your
right,
tenants owe back your rent?
right, exactly. It's just a crazy, it's a problem that's never happened before. Overall, you would say though, from your business perspective, it's not really impacting you right now.
No, it is.
Um,
I mean, I would say it absolutely is.
okay.
It's hard for me to say because due to me kind of, I was working, with somebody else and I'm kind of restarting my business. So it's a little slow anyway for the restart here. But, lenders are tightening their guidelines as to what they want to lend on. And
Okay.
then borrowers are thinking about whether they want to make a purchase or not right now. I was talking to somebody else who works in the industry, and they say that the difference between them and me is they're like, oh, my pipeline's fat, so that's good. So they're trying to close out these deals that are in the pipeline, but not a lot's coming in to their
Right,
pipeline,
right. They don't have a lot in the funnel.
right?
Yep.
So, I mean, look, what's impacting me is towns are closing down, city halls are closing down. So they're
Oh,
not
so you
sending out
can't.
inspectors. You can't get permit. Like someone was telling me a
Oh,
story that they know an electrician who's like, "Hey, look, I got like 5, 6 good clients. They got cash. They'll pay. I'll do those jobs." And then they're like, "Well, wait, like I can't even get permits to do those jobs." So
oh, wow. Okay.
are they going to lax those regulations and stuff? Who
Yeah,
knows,
yeah.
right? Let's not jump the gun to that. But right now, that work can't be done. You can't move
I
to the
see.
next step. So we're all going a certain step. We're finishing our rough plumbing, call for an inspection, stop the project. We're finishing our
Right.
final, call, stop the project. Our CO is going to be issued. Everybody's working from home. How are we going to do closings? Virtually? Are they going to allow virtual closings, banks? I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but I don't think banks are going to offer virtual. I mean, you got to get things
We do
notarized.
virtual closings.
You
We
do.
do virtual. Yes,
That's
we're
awesome.
we're the market leader.
That's awesome. And I think, and it's funny you say that actually about you being the market leader. I watch how business will change after that.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So that's what I think a lot of that's going to have to change
Yes.
or will change, right? People will
Yeah.
see how these,
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely going to be a lot of carnage. It's not going to be figured out until like 6 months from now.
yeah.
You want to wrap it up?
Sure. Well, thank you everybody for listening here today. We really appreciate it. As you know, you can check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. If you want to email us at hustleestate1@gmail.com. And on our social media platforms, we're on Twitter and Instagram @hustleestate. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.